The Four Boxes of Liberty, Unpacking the Roots of Political Authority. Welcome to a place where daring ideas flourish and provocative discussions begin. Today, we delve into a topic that has echoed through the halls of history, influencing political thought and stirring the hearts of those who value freedom above all else. We are dissecting the concept of the Four Boxes of Liberty and challenging the conventional authority bestowed upon elected governments. This is not just a history lesson, but a call to consider the sovereignty of the individual and what authority truly means. Traditionally, political authority has been rooted in the structured hierarchy of elected governments. Constitutions, laws, and electoral processes present an image of orderly governance, where power is derived from the consent of the governed. But what if this facade is peeled back, revealing a stark truth often overshadowed? Beneath the ceremonies and oaths lies an unyielding reality. Violence is the ultimate legitimate authority. The concept that all political authority flows from the potential for violence is not just radical, it's foundational. It demands we reconsider who truly holds power. What if it is not the governments, but individuals, empowered by their inherent freedom and willingness to challenge the status quo? Imagine a world where individuals are recognized as the true sovereigns. Here lies a fundamental shift. The people are not merely subjects of government authority, but rulers in their own right. This is a cornerstone of libertarian thought, where personal freedom and sovereignty eclipse all else. The free individual is not a voter relegated to the margins every 4 years, but a constant force shaping the world, challenging the notion that governments are the be-all and end-all of authority. To understand this paradigm shift, we turn to history, because history is a testament to ideas, actions, and radical shifts in power dynamics. Two pivotal events loom large as harbingers of these libertarian ideals: the Eureka Stockade and the American War of Independence. Both signify powerful defiance against oppression and a validation of the individual's ultimate authority. Let's travel back to 1854 in the goldfields of Ballarat, Victoria. The Eureka Stockade wasn't merely a revolt, it was a statement. Miners, tired of exorbitant license fees and authoritarian policing, decided enough was enough. The stockade symbolized a grassroots fight against government overreach. It was a clarion call for representation and fairness, and served as a prototype for challenging established authority. It posed a critical question: where should the line be drawn in a society between governance and tyranny? And who decides? While briefly quelled, the rebellion left an indelible mark and spurred reforms. It illustrated that ordinary people could take a stand and challenge perceived injustices imposed by the powers that be. The Eureka Stockade inspires those who believe in personal liberty over bureaucratic dominion. Was it just about gold licenses, or was it a universal outcry for dignity and fairness? The implications resound far beyond the momentary skirmish, challenging us to assess the foundations of governance and representation today. Across the globe, another battle raged, one that would cement ideals of freedom and set a path for a fledgling nation. The American War of Independence was not merely a revolt against taxes. It was an audacious declaration that authority derives from the consent of the governed, not distant monarchs. It began with cries of "no taxation without representation," but evolved into a full-throated defense of liberty. The American founders weren't just contenders for a new land. They were architects of a bold vision where governments exist to serve individuals, not the reverse. The revolution's success lay not just in military victory, but in ideation, a new nation where liberty and justice became cornerstones. The Declaration of Independence drafted principles that individual rights were inalienable, putting power squarely in the hands of the people. This nation was birthed on the bedrock of freedom. Such events offer timeless principles. They beg reflection. Do our current structures honor these noble beginnings or fall short of protecting individual sovereignty? Are we truly living in a government by the people, for the people? Eureka and the American Revolution shared common ground: resistance against oppression rooted in individual rights. However, they came from different climates, one born from financial desperation, the other from ideological conviction. Both represent powerful lessons. Subversion of authority in pursuit of freedom isn't bound by geography or time. When faced with oppression, common people can, and have, redefined governance by their steadfast quest for liberty. The echoes of these revolutions resonate today within libertarian discourse. They serve as clarion calls for modern societies wrestling with similar issues. The gravitational pull of power towards centralized authorities remains. These historical events repeatedly remind us of the insignia worn by free societies: vigilance and the courage to question. Libertarians champion these narratives, fueling ongoing dialogues about self-governance. The ethos of these revolutions underscores that true authority is inherent within the individual, demanding persistence and courage to claim what is rightfully ours. The heart of this discussion lies in challenging orthodoxies. If governments draw their ultimate power from violence, we must question the foundations and ethics behind such authority. The philosophical implications are vast, urging us to consider the essence of power, liberty, and the state's legitimacy. Are we, as individuals, unconsciously consenting to our subjugation when submitting to overarching authority? Or does our compliance represent a necessary social contract? The freedom to choose one's governance is at the heart of this debate, seeding doubt about existing structures. Violence as a foundational element of authority provokes ethical questions. If coercion is inherent in upholding authority, then where do we stand on its moral implications? Is a government justified in wielding this power, or should it be ever restrained and held accountable by the vigilant eyes of its citizens? The discussion polarizes. On one end, the necessity of order; on the other, the cry for freedom. Finding the balance is not easy, yet essential for true autonomy. It is upon this precipice that the debate teeters, a dialogue essential for any society valuing liberty. The quest for balance between governmental authority and individual freedom is timeless. How do we safeguard liberty without descending into anarchy? Historical insights provide guidance, showing how past rebellions sought to restore this equilibrium. As libertarians, it is our duty to persist, challenging our contemporary structures. History teaches that unchecked power often encroaches, and vigilance is our strongest shield. Empowered individuals advocating for their rights shape societies that honor freedom. Today's political climate echoes these age-old dilemmas. The 4 boxes of liberty serves as a caution and an inspiration. We face relentless headlines of government surveillance, overreach, and bureaucratic bloat. In such times, examining historical precedents becomes crucial. Our voices, like those rebellious miners and early patriots, must rise. These events teach that freedom, once tasted, can never be forgotten and should neither be compromised lightly. Elected governments operate under an assumption of inherent legitimacy, bolstered by procedural structures. However, do these systems always honor the will of the people? Can a government assert its authority when it fails to represent and protect the rights of its constituents? Libertarians advocate for a critical review. What happens when elected officials forget their duty to the people? Governments must be reminded they serve the populace, not rule it. Challenging this assumption invites necessary reform and accountability. Consider protests, the vessels of change throughout history. Rebellion and protest, far from being threats, act as vital checks against potential tyranny. They ensure voices suppressed by the majority find amplification and representation. What could demonstrate personal liberty more succinctly than the freedom to dissent? Dissent, historically misunderstood, in reality fuels the very innovation and advancement societies strive for. Libertarians today owe part of their philosophy to these historical narratives, embracing dynamics of power, authority, and self-determination. When examining these events through a libertarian lens, it strengthens the belief that self-governance is not just an idea, but a right. Prominent libertarian figures, influenced by the spirit of Eureka and American independence, continue advocating for minimized government intrusion. Their philosophies are not products of imagination, but testaments to a historical lineage of defiance and freedom. Understanding past events equips us for the present and future. Encouraging education about these rebellions fosters awareness necessary to nurture informed citizens. Lessons from history provide powerful catalysts for dialogue about authority and liberty. Whether it's through lectures, documentaries, or discussions, fostering a nuanced understanding of these events offers a protective armor against authoritarianism and undermining freedoms. So ask yourself, how much authority should a government hold compared to the individual? Are modern societies honoring the ideals birthed in these rebellions, or are we betraying them? Where, if anywhere, should the line be drawn between necessary governance and individual freedom? By contemplating these questions, you engage in a dialogue centuries in the making, ensuring that liberty evolves but never fades. The 4 Boxes of Liberty urges us to reconsider the intricate dance between authority and individual liberty. It's a reminder to remain vigilant, informed, and unyielding. History extends an invitation, not to reminisce, but to act, learn, and advocate for a society where sovereignty belongs rightfully to its people. Engage with these ideas. Reflect on your position within the sphere of authority. Debate, discuss, and most importantly, never cease questioning. When the dialogue stops, complacency begins, and with it, the erosion of liberty. Thank you for walking with us through history's corridors and examining the echoes of its defiant spirits. The conversation has just begun. Remember, true freedom is not merely given. It's asserted, defended, and expanded with every committed dialogue and every deliberate action.